Hello there, Byaka desu and welcome to my review of Kingdom Hearts 3. So the last time I reviewed the Kingdom Hearts game was Dream Drop Distance, and it's been quite a while since I last recorded a video for reviewing this franchise. I wanted to do the last game. Of course, you also have Melody of Memory and we have the Remind DLC, which I do have, but I'm currently stuck on because I can't get rid of the bosses of the second episode, so they are far too difficult, and I guess I would have to do grind to get past them and defeat them so I could see the rest of the cutscenes and the rest of the story. It's something I will work on with time, but for now I'm basically done with the main game. So, about Kingdom Hearts 3, there's not going to be a review soon, and I have played Kingdom Hearts 3 a while back, so the details are a little fuzzy by now. Of course, I will start by saying that for all the Kingdom Hearts games that I've played so far, and I say this in every video, I played all of them in beginner's mode. Kingdom Hearts 3 was by far the easiest of them all. I finished the game at level 40, if I'm not mistaken, and the mechanics are really intuitive. You have a combination of every combat mechanic you have seen throughout the game so far. You have the shot lock, you have the flow motion, you have all these mechanics and they work really well together. I didn't use flow motion that much, but they really work well, and the combat, the gameplay, everything is really fluid and really easy, and you can easily do the story really under level. I think besides Birth by Sleep, which is the game where the characters spend really few time in each world and the levels are really low if you don't do much grind, this game was the most under-leveled that I got. Maybe that's the problem, maybe that's why I can't go past the Remind bosses, although I have already heard that it isn't much about the level, but more about the strategy and the way to go about them, but that's for another time. About the story, so this game was promoted as being the final chapter, so the big conclusion of the storyline so far, and we all know by now that that's not the case, and we will probably have a Kingdom Hearts 4 in another 10 years, perhaps. I don't know if it's gonna take that long, if it's gonna take even more time than that, but one thing is for sure. Well, nothing is for sure in Kingdom Hearts, but you feel like at least the plot about Xehanort and about the Organization 13 has come to an end, because this is already introduced in Dream Drop Distance. You now know which is the real organization, which is mostly made by Xehanort in different timelines. So you have young Xehanort, you have Ansem, which is the Heartless of Xehanort, and you have Xemnas, which is the Buddy of Xehanort, and you have Xehanort, and it's all Xehanorts, and you have some of the old faces of Organization 13, such as Larxene, Luxord, Marluxia. They are here, or they've been brought back just so Xehanort can possess their bodies and make the 13 Darkness to fight the 7 Lights. You also have in this game the new 7 princesses, so Kairi has given up her place to become one of the Guardians of Light, because she's now trained with the Keyblade. And you have Elsa, Anna, Rapunzel, so the recent princesses being part of the new 7 Hearts. And honestly, I don't know why Elsa is one of the pure hearts, because it's not that she's not a good princess, but we all know her story from Frozen 1. She's almost an anti-heroine or a villain. In the original story, she was supposed to be a villain, but she is redeemed and everything in Frozen. So it makes me kind of confused. Also, this game is really full of Pixar worlds, so you have Monsters Inc., you have Toy Story, and those worlds are really fun. Then you have the Verum Rex plot introduced in Toy Story, and everyone confusing Sora with Yozora. So I don't know if there's more to that in the Remind DLC, but that's already weird enough, because I feel like Yozora is, in terms of design, much more similar to Riku than Sora, although his name is more similar, has a ring similar to Sora. And the Pixar worlds are really interesting. I do feel like that in this game you don't do much in the Disney world, so there's no particular reason for you to be in the Disney worlds, because in the first one you were going to the worlds of the princesses. In this one, Sora is going through the worlds with Donald and Goofy just because. That's basically the reason. He's just going from world to world trying to find some kind of clue, because the only thing he has to do is to discover or gain his power of awakening, so he can free Ventus from his heart. So, and the Disney worlds themselves, the plot, for example, in Toy Story and Monsters Inc., they have, and Big Hero 6, they have original plots. So Monsters Inc. and Big Hero 6 are, for example, sequels. But at the same time, you don't feel like you're seeing much more than you already know about the movies. So in Monsters Inc., basically you are protecting Boo, and you have lots of references to the movie, because you have the doors thing in the warehouse, and so I feel like I'm playing the movie, but they are treating it like a sequel, so they can do whatever they want with the story and doesn't affect the original movie. But at the same time, I don't feel like it's a sequel. As well in Big Hero 6, apart for you at a certain point have to Baymaxes, I don't feel like I'm really seeing a sequel. And the Disney worlds like Frozen and Rapunzel was a fun world for me, but I'm suspicious to say that, because I love Rapunzel, but I feel like, for example, in those worlds, in Rapunzel and Frozen, you don't do much, because the story is happening according to the movies, and Sora is just kinda there. He doesn't do much, he just has to fight Heartless. I mean, Rapunzel and Flynn at a certain point just disappear alone, and Sora is left in the forest with Donald and Goofy searching for them, so that he doesn't affect what is happening with them. That happens also in Frozen. At least in Rapunzel helps him and participates in the battle, and Flynn also does that. In Frozen, you have the that giant snowman, he's not a snowman, whatever, the giant ice monster that Elsa creates, help you. And that doesn't make any sense, because he only appears for 5 minutes in the movie, and he's not supposed to side with anyone. I don't know, I'm not really a fan. Of course, I always enjoy visiting the Disney worlds, but I feel like they were something mandatory in this game, instead of actually being a part of the plot. And also, you have the plot of Maleficent and Pete. Maleficent and Pete are still in this game, but they don't do anything. They are looking for a black box, because Zigbar spoke of that and wanted them also to search for it, and they just spend the entire game looking for it. So they don't do literally anything. Of course, the game has really awesome moments because you have the fight with Anti-Aqua, you have that fight in the Keyblade graveyard where you have the special appearance of all the players of Kingdom Hearts Union X. So that's always interesting. I don't know if that's how you pronounce the name of the game, but I honestly don't know, and I don't know if I care. So it was really epic also. I'm sorry I didn't see any of the names that appeared, so but it was really interesting. And of course, the facing off against the organization, everything was really well done. And of course, if you play at least the first episode of the Remind DLC, you have the opportunity of playing with the other characters, which is the most I think I wouldn't enjoy repeating the last uh, part of the game where you defeat the organization if it wasn't for you being able to play with other characters. You have the opportunity of trying Kairi, you have the opportunity of trying, of course you also played with the trio of Birth by Sleep in that game, but you have the opportunity to play with them, to play with Axel, so, and it's really epic to see the other part of the battle with the other Keyblade users apart from Sora that goes to Xehanort's land. And it would be a really great conclusion if they didn't put Sora disappearing at the end of the game to go to wherever he went, because now there's this theory that he probably went to the real world and that we'll probably see more of Square Enix's worlds. But they still have they are still connected to Disney, so I don't know how that will work. The game is really interesting. From the graphics point of view, it's really mesmerizing. I'm not a fan of seeing Hercules in 3D, and sometimes I felt like the Disney worlds were too big. You had too much space to walk on, to run, and to everything, but you didn't have much to interact with, so it just felt like you were in this enormous arena with nothing to do like besides run. So that's one of the downsides. But the story is really captivating. There's still lots of questions to answer, and one of the moments that I really enjoyed was when I had to piece back Sora, because he basically loses his art. And for me that moment, although it was interesting being in that scenario, I felt like it didn't have any build up to it. So Rico is defending him, saying that he doesn't believe that Sora just lost his heart, but I feel like he just loses all hope, and that's not something Sora would do. I don't know, I think it's out of character. There's no explanation, there's nothing that justifies the way he just falls and loses all hope. I feel it would have to be a much more dramatic moment. But it's still an interesting moment, and the thing that happens after where you are trying to piece him back, it's really interesting. And I'm still not sure what's about the stars. I think in Melody of Memory they talk about one of them that has more... one of those that talked with Sora, and supposedly it's special to Sora, but I don't know anymore because I didn't play Melody of Memory and I didn't watch the cutscenes. For now, Kingdom Hearts is finished. I'm actually playing Union X, and I want to play Dark Road so that I can see more of the story, so maybe I will do a review. Maybe I will try to do top Kingdom Hearts games. I don't know if I will do in an overall perspective, or if I'll do like story-wise and game-wise. I still don't know what I'll do about that. And tell me your favorite characters of this game, tell me your favorite moments, and see you!